Brock Lesnar wants it, then he's gonna get it.
The tribal chief fears no beast, and Crown Jewel reigns Lesnar.
This could be one of the greatest matches in the history of WWE for the Universal Championship. Crown Jewel.
I am beyond grateful for my WWE Championship.
I've been biding my time. I've waited months for this match.
Big E will defend his WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre.
You will never take this from me.
I am the greatest woman to ever hold this title. How many different ways do I have to show you that I'm the EST before you finally get it?
Wait a minute! Sasha Banks is back! 3 women that are absolute ass kickers. Becky defends her title against Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks in a triple threat at the Crown Jewel.
Ashley, you hurt my son. And now I'm going to hurt you real bad.
Goldberg, I am going to dismantle you, and you can bring your son along too.
Crown Jewel, no holds barred. Goldberg, Lashley.
Bobby Lashley, you're next.
Hell is coming to Crown Jewel.
What did you think was going to happen?
And now, WWE presents Crown Jewel Kickoff.
Take my breath. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WWE Crown Jewel Kickoff Show. As you can see right there, fans are getting excited. They're piling in to the Mohammed Abdu Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And we here are so excited to present the kickoff show to you today, guys. New king, a new queen will be crowned tonight. Perhaps we will see new champions. Rivalries might be settled. They might continue, but we know one thing. History is going to be made. I'm Kayla Braxton, and I'm super excited to be joined by these two handsome gentlemen. To my left, you know him. He is Hot 97 and ESPN Radios and former 27 champion, Pete Rosenberg.
Guys, very excited. This little afternoon delight that we have. Crown Jewel, very excited, guys.
Yes, over here to my right. First time on a WWE kickoff show. You see him next to me every single Wednesday on WWE's The Bump. Also, you see him on Talking Smack and Raw Talk. Matt Camp, welcome.
Kayla, I appreciate you being here. I don't do the dancing. I leave that to former 24/7 champions. But hey, we're going to see maybe multiple new champions and a king and queen crowned today.
Yes, there's going to be a lot going on. But we want to make sure you guys don't miss any of the action. WWE Crown Jewel will be live on the WWE Network on Peacock. Special start time of 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you haven't yet subscribed, go to peacock.com/WWE or download the Peacock app and sign up right now, because this is what you're going to get. The most dominant Universal Champion of all time, Roman Reigns, will go head-to-head with the Beast Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. Oh, and hold on. We have breaking news here. This match is now a no disqualification match.
Kayla, that's not the only breaking news we have, because it's going to be Goldberg against Bobby Lashley. You know it's no holds barred and anything goes, but it's also now a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Ooh, off to a good start.
And how about this? We got the EST, the Boss, and Big Time Bex, the SmackDown Women's Championship triple threat match. Whoever gets the pin is the champ.
And what we would consider an absolute dream match. Xavier Woods and Finn Balor compete For the first time ever, both of the same goal, to walk out of Crown Jewel as king.
Another first-time matchup happens in the finals of the first-ever Queen's Crown tournament. Doudrop and Zelina Vega. They are both looking to launch their WWE careers, but who will come away with the crown?
Bro, you already know what it is. Everyone's favorite, RK Bro, the Raw Tag Team Championship on the line against AJ Styles and Omos.
And Mansoor finds himself in another huge one-on-one encounter in his homeland of Saudi Arabia against his former friend, Mustafa Ali.
And coming up here in just a little bit on the Crown Jewel kickoff, we will see the Hurt Business, represented by Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, taking on the SmackDown Tag Team Champions and members of the all-important bloodline, the Usos.
Oh.
And we know Seth Rollins has gone too far. He went to the House of Edge, and now there's only one way to settle this rivalry. Hell in a Cell.
And finally, Drew McIntyre is hungry to reclaim his third WWE Championship as he targets the current WWE Champion Big E in what's sure to be an explosive showdown.
Lashley stalking Orton on the outside of the ring. Like Bobby Lashley might have tweaked his own knee on the delivery of the spine buster. What? It's happening! Big E is cashing in his Money in the Bank contract! They're ringing the bell, it's official! Lashley is hurt, but he is mauling Big E. Big ending! You are looking at your new WWE champion. WWE champion! And feel the
It was many months ago now I was screwed out of the WWE Championship by MVP and Lashley, and I've been biding my time. I've been patient. I've been waiting for a hero to liberate that title. Finally, after all this time, allows me to do this. I challenge you for a match for the WWE Championship.
Drew, I get it. I understand why you want to be WWE champion so badly. I, for one, have tasted the spoils of being champion, and oh, are they sweet. You are a specimen. You are incredibly accomplished, but you, my friend, will never take this from me.
I'm damn proud of everything I did as WWE Champion, leading the company through uncertain times, but I am still chasing my moment. My moment is going to come at Crown Jewel. I am going to run through you, win back my WWE Championship, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it.
The train has already left the station, and you have two options. Jump on board, or your big sword-wielding ass can stay on those railroad tracks and get run smooth over.
All right, I want to go straight to both of you. Matt, I'll start with you. I think the question when it comes to this match is who actually needs it and wants it more. This is a title that Big E has been pursuing his entire WWE career, but then Drew McIntyre has been out of the picture when Bobby Lashley was champion because that was just what the reality was. So who really needs this more?
So listen, we know that after today, we're going to see Drew McIntyre as part of SmackDown. He'll be moving on from Raw. We'll be doing so with the WWE Championship. That remains to be seen. To answer your question, no, I think it's Big E. I think he needs to solidify his reign as WWE Champion. He needs to say, this is not a fluke, and I don't think anybody thinks it is, but if you could beat a former WWE Champion, a two-timer in Drew McIntyre, that sends Drew McIntyre off to SmackDown. He can go for other opportunities there, and it tells everybody coming over to Raw and remaining on Raw that Big E is the man.
I got to tell you, I completely agree with Matt on this. This, to me, is a bigger opportunity and situation for Big E because on that fateful Monday night when Big E cashed in, and everyone was so excited, I was too because he's one of my favorite human beings in the world, I was like, okay, this is amazing, but is it a fluke? Is it going to be over in 2 seconds? Is Bobby Lashley going to get the title back? No. Big E successfully does away with Bobby Lashley, but now he has a real test in Drew McIntyre. So to me, this is the match that can solidify Big E as a true champion.
And as you said, Drew McIntyre is moving over to Team Blue. I'm very excited to have him every single Friday. But, he could shift his focus if things do not work out for him tonight the way he wants. He can shift his focus. He said it to me on Talking Smack. SmackDown is where it all began for him many, many years ago. And that Universal title could be something potentially that could be in his grasp.
Isn't he someone, though, Peter, that you would say, this guy can refocus and get the new goals ready right away? He can say, listen, I've been in there with Roman Reigns last year at Survivor Series. I will want to go right back to the Universal Championship because he hasn't held that title yet.
That's a really good point. And one thing that I keep thinking about with regards to Drew McIntyre is kind of who he is over the last couple of weeks. Like, listen, we always think of Drew as just being the best stand-up dude. Like, that's Drew McIntyre. To be honest, he was kind of a jerk to Big E, in my opinion, cutting him off in the middle of the ring and saying, no, you don't speak for me. So I'm actually curious to see.
Passionate.
He's a passionate guy.
Yes.
And will this be a respectful championship match, or could this get a little bit ugly?
Let it get a little ugly. I'm okay with that. Hey, listen, it's the WWE Championship.
Hug and a handshake, but that's just me.
It should go down that way.
Okay, guys. Also happening tonight, 2 huge matches. King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown all come to a head. We're looking right here, the King of the Ring tournament. I mentioned this is a dream match. Finn Balor and Xavier Woods have never met inside of a WWE ring, but only one of them can come out as king. And of course, the first ever Queen's Crown tournament in WWE. And these are the last 2 women standing. Doudrop and Zelina Vega both have had phenomenal years in WWE, and we're going to break down this match, both of these matches, in just a moment. But yesterday on WWE's The Bump, we did have the honor to present and debut a new series in WWE called WWE's The Build 2. It is a new exclusive look at the competitors for both King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournament before Zelina Vega, Doudrop, Finn Balor, and Xavier Woods compete in the finals of their respective tournament. So before we do continue again breaking down these matches, we do want to take a quick look at WWE The Build 2, showing how Doudrop and Zelina Vega made it to this point.
I have a lot of tenacity, a lot of determination, a lot of heart and a lot of fire, and I'm really looking forward to unleashing that side of me tonight.
Shayna Baszler is a world-class competitor. Doudrop's done. Wait a minute. Just folded Baszler in half.
I think Shayna Baszler might have met her match in Doudrop.
Baszler still hanging on. No, this has got to be done on the ground now. Oh, she's on her back. Oh, my God.
Doudrop has just pinned Shayna Baszler and punched her ticket to the finals of the Queen's Crown.
I said I was going to do it, and I've done it. Now, Zelina Vega, you're getting dropped. Bam!
All right, and WWE's The Build 2 is available on WWE's official YouTube and Facebook pages right now. All right, Peter, let's talk about this. And let's start talking about the Queen's Crown tournament. This is going to be a first for either of this women. This is a history-making match. There is so much at stake. Zelina's been around here for quite some time. Doudrop is fairly new to the game. Who do you think has what it takes to really walk out with that crown?
Well, here's the thing for me. Is Doudrop, this is cliched, but does Doudrop fall into the trap of having made it past Shayna Baszler, who maybe was the most dangerous competitor in the entire tournament?
Sure.
She gets past Shayna Baszler and now has maybe a more beatable opponent in her eyes in Zelina Vega. She cannot go to sleep on Zelina. Zelina is a crafty veteran who desperately wants this accolade.
There is a confidence in Zelina Vega that is unwavering. And maybe people thought of her as an underdog in this tournament because of her size, but she defeats a former UK women's champion in Toni Storm. She beats Carmella, former SmackDown women's champion, a former Miss Money in the Bank. She's got 2 very important victories to her name. We talked to Doudrop yesterday on The Bump. She knows this is a big deal. She is not taking Zelina Vega at all at her size or anything like that. She's not taking her lightly. And she actually said, hey, we're kind of similar, because people would look at us and we might look very different, but at the same time, people might have said, nah, they can't be the queen. That will not happen in WWE. But They're both very motivated here. I wouldn't overlook either one of these two, but Peter, to your point, I think the cunningness and confidence of Zelina Vega goes a long way.
All right, well, let's shift focus to the King of the Ring tournament. I mentioned earlier, we said it yesterday, this is really exciting because for those who didn't know, Xavier Woods and Finn Balor have never met inside of a WWE ring. And Matt has constantly reminded me how deep this goes for Xavier Woods. This has been an absolute dream for him to someday be King of the Ring.
You know, a lot of people want to be WWE champion. I think Xavier Woods has that goal as well, but he will tell you the reason he is a Xavier Woods has that goal as well, but he will tell you the reason he is a WWE superstar to this day is to become King of the Ring. And a lot of people talk about manifesting. I think that word gets overused. This is truly what manifesting means. You go back 5-6 years, he's doing red carpet interviews for 2K games, talking about King of the Ring, talking to Finn Balor, saying, hey, that can happen in a video game. No, now it's happening for the first time ever in the King of the Ring finals. And a lot of people are excited about Xavier Woods being the sentimental favorite, and I'm one of those people. But, Peter, I almost kind of feel like people are overlooking the fact that we have Finn Balor in this tournament, a former Universal Champion, and a prince trying to become a king.
Exactly, and I think a lot of people get so excited because they naturally love Xavier Woods. And I would say for everyone right now, all of our Twitter fans out there in the WWE universe, both guys are two of the most beloved superstars we have. Go look at Twitter right now. People are excited for this. But to your point, just because we love Xavier Woods doesn't mean we can sleep on Finn Balor. This might be the sleeper match of the night to me.
All right, so do we have a I know we have our favorites. Do we have a prediction?
I'm picking Woods because I think he's got more motivation, because I think to him this is the, pardon the pun, crowning achievement of his career. He will tell you it's the biggest match of his career. And I think Finn Balor, he said it to us yesterday, he doesn't care about opponents or sentimental favorites. He approaches every match the same, which is a good thing. But for Finn Balor, a little different.
Well, we are not thinking about Finn Balor right now. We're seeing that door for Goldberg. He has a big match tonight. He and Bobby Lashley, we know it's no holds barred. Also, falls count anywhere. Let's see how these colossal giants got to this point.
Bobby Lashley has the audacity to claim that what he did to my son was a misunderstanding.
Bobby Lashley trying to end the career of Goldberg. What? That's Gage. That's Gage. No.
In the Hurt Lock. It wasn't. It was intentional.
Oh, no. Bobby, what have you done?
So tonight, I'm inviting Bobby Lashley in this ring so I can intentionally break his freaking neck.
Bill, I know you're angry, but you need to look at it from my point of view. You've been perpetrating this myth that I somehow hurt your son on purpose. And at this point, that's a bit of character assassination. And Bill, I think you owe me an apology. And look, I know that you want a match against me, and I'm going to give you that match at Crown Jewel under one condition. That match is no holds barred.
Thank you, Bobby. No holds barred gives me a license to kill. You want an apology? I'll apologize to your kids after I leave your lifeless body in the middle of the ring gasping for air.
The icon of Goldberg has been reduced to a rabid dog. That dog needs to be put down. Goldberg, you can't beat the Almighty. And Goldberg, you damn sure can't kill the Almighty.
You think I'm crazy, and I am. Because there's one thing for sure, Bobby Lashley. You're next. And you're dead.
You know, Goldberg added 2 more words to the already 2 words of "you're next" when he had that first conversation. And we've interviewed him, before, where he's like, these matches aren't personal. It's another match, and he just knows he's got some business. Now we know how personal this has gotten because his son was involved. Mm-hmm. Now "You're dead" are those 2 words he's added. So was this the scariest version of him that we've
Something that we've seen in a long
seen?
time. I'll tell you this. There needs to be some arrests in the Goldberg family. Number one, Gage trespassed into the ring. I personally agree with Bobby Lashley. What was Bobby Lashley supposed to do? You feel someone random grabbing you. You guys have been watching pro sports these days. You have crazy overzealous fans running on the floor.
It's brave to say that.
So I'm
good luck, man.
Listen. I think Bobby Lashley has a point. And on top of that, you're dead.
Yeah.
That's a threat. That's threatening murder.
Well,
listen, it's here's the thing. It's no holds barred. Bobby Lashley gave that to Goldberg. It's now Falls Count Anywhere, so who knows where this will end up. It could end up on the boulevard out there somewhere. But as Kayla mentioned, Goldberg's always been about business, going back to the beginning of his career, and championships.
Yep.
And when we saw what was going down at SummerSlam, it was about the WWE Championship. Well, it's not about that anymore, because the WWE Champion is Big E. This is personal. It's felt like Bobby Lashley's worried about the perception of him as a man, and, I didn't do this, and this is a character assassination. Forget about that. Bobby Lashley, you have a very angry Goldberg right now, who is not worried about anything else than avenging his son.
I hear you, and that's a scary thought, but Goldberg's time has happened. It's Lashley time. And the one thing I'll say I'm worried about Bobby Lashley is this. We can't forget, MVP is currently on the shelf, right?
Sure.
He does not have MVP. He does not have his back right now in Saudi Arabia. However, it is Lashley time. To me, he's still the most dominant force in WWE. It's going to be a long night for Goldberg.
all right, guys. Quickly at what we're going to be seeing on the new rosters on SmackDown. Kicking off, by the way, it all starts tomorrow night where all of our superstars go to their new brands. What a crew we have here. I'm going to be chasing down all of these guys every week for some interviews. Stacked. And over here on Monday Night Raw, it's just really exciting to see because a lot of these superstars we haven't seen on the same brand in the past. So all the potential matchups that could come, or the potential tag teams that could form.
But also look at some of those, because I see some championship titles over shoulders, and they might not be there tomorrow night. Drew McIntyre might have the WWE Championship over his shoulder come SmackDown, and Roman Reigns may not have the Universal Championship. You could have the SmackDown Women's Champion on Raw and the Raw Women's Champion on SmackDown. We know that with Charlotte Flair. That adds to all the intrigue, and of course, a lot of new fresh matchups will be happening.
I'm also just excited as an old school fan of the early 2000s. I'm just excited to have Edge back on Raw. Like, that's where Edge is supposed to be. When you think about, y'all remember, I don't know if we can still bring this up, the celebration back in the day with Lita. There were a lot of classic moments on Raw with Edge. I'm excited to have him back.
I like the idea maybe of Edge and AJ Styles happening at some point over on SmackDown. Sheamus, wants that Intercontinental Championship for the first time in his career, and plenty more. Who could be potential new challengers for the Universal Championship? We've mentioned Drew McIntyre. Of course, Roman Reigns has that little thing of Brock Lesnar to get over later on here at Crown Jewel.
Well, as far as the women go, of course, I'm on Friday at SmackDown, so it's always hard to lose your locker room friends to the other side. But when I'm so
friends, Kayla, who cares about friends?
You're a broadcaster. You're a professional journalist, for God's sake.
I'm supportive of all of the female superstars, especially. And there's between Carmella and Liv Morgan is one that I'm so excited.
Carmella on Raw for the first time in her career.
To see them really shine. And a lot of new faces that have come up through.
Hit Row, Austin Theory, Xia Li. Excited to see them all get
very
their chance
excited
on
for
Raw
Hit Row. A lot of people talking about Hit Row on SmackDown.
Watch out for Swerve. He's got something special.
I know, guys. All right. Still a lot more to discuss here on the WWE, guys. All right. Still a lot more to discuss here on the WWE Crown Jewel Kickoff Show. However, we do have some more news to present to you. Earlier, we did make an announcement that Universal Championship match was going to be a no disqualification match. However, we have been told that Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns have no interest in that being the case. So we are taking that stipulation back off of the table.
Well, Heyman's got his hands from things. I'm just saying.
I didn't say it. He said it, so I think that's okay. But we've been following these two for quite some time. So let's take a look back at Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar and how all of this came to be.
Paul, everybody is wondering where you stand.
Brock Lesnar! Paul Heyman seen a ghost! The alpha male of our species is back! This is insanity!
Real talk though, Paul, you knew Brock was gonna be there at SummerSlam, didn't you?
I swear, I did not know Brock was going to be
got a question for you, Paul. Why didn't you tell Roman I was going to be at SummerSlam?
I'm sure there's nothing that I need to know. No, my tribal chief, nothing.
I didn't know.
Accept my challenge. Roman Reigns for the Universal title.
Are you kidding me? Brock looking for the F5, and Roman Reigns with a Superman punch.
I'm sure there's nothing that I need to know.
The Beast Brock Lesnar sending a message to the champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, for 20 years, I was the advocate for Brock Lesnar. But now I stand right behind my tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
Paul, I saved you. Are you good friends with Brock Lesnar? Are we good friends?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank my good friend, Paul Heyman. Brock Lesnar is a free agent. Brock Lesnar gets to do whatever Brock Lesnar wants to do.
It appears we're getting set up now, Pat, for the contract signing.
My counsel, sir, is to sign this contract for Crown Jewel.
And now it's time for Beast to make this thing official.
Didn't even look at it, but he signed it. It's official.
You must be some kind of a dumbass.
Roman, I already read the damn contract this morning with my advocate, Paul Heyman.
Where does Paul Heyman's allegiance lie?
I love you, Paul.
I love you too, my tribal chief.
You're the wise man to the bloodline. I want you to be wise right now. I want you to come clean. I'll protect you.
Brock, you outsmarted the wise man on this one. Roman Reigns will walk into Crown Jewel as your tribal chief, and he will fight you as a tribal beast at Crown Jewel, the winner and still reigning, defending, undisputed, universal heavyweight champion, Roman Reigns.
Excuse me, Mr. Heyman.
First of all, don't do that. Secondly, who are you?
Kevin Patrick, sir. We've met before. I was hoping to get a word with you about the monumental Universal Championship match between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. And will it be a difficult match for you on account of your dueling loyalties to both men?
Okay, I didn't understand a word that you just said to me, and I know that Kayla put you up to this. Let me smarten you up. Ask me a relevant question that can provoke an honest answer out of me, please.
Thank you, Paul. Last Friday, is it true that you went over the Universal Championship contract with Brock Lesnar?
You know, before you get fired, which I hope is really, really soon, let me give you an exclusive. Tonight, at Crown Jewel, I am going to walk down to the ring with the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns. And I am going to walk back to the locker room with the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion. Thank you very much.
Did y'all catch that?
Said Roman.
And then he didn't say at the end. I don't know. I've been absolutely baffled by Paul Heyman in many ways, but this one in particular, I don't know what to believe. Sometimes he convinces me that he just has the best interest in the current.
He convinces you of things? That never happens.
Yeah, that's not who Paul Heyman is.
No, for his own good, he convinces you of things.
Yeah, guys, I am completely baffled when it comes to what's going on with Paul Heyman. But we do know that the Universal Championship is on the line, and Roman Reigns, how many days?
400 plus at this point. We're in 410 range.
The most dominant Universal Champion in WWE history. But then you have Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I have to say I'm thoroughly confused by this. I do not know what happens today. This is probably my favorite thing going on in WWE because I'm so constantly confused by Paul Heyman. But I'll tell you, I think he's telling us the truth. I think, because I'll tell you why.
And he also thinks that.
Hold on, I tell you,
the truth.
and I believe in the Tooth Fairy. But let me just say this.
You might be on the payroll.
Roman Reigns is a smart dude, okay?
Agree.
He's the head of the table for a reason. He is not going to allow a snake into the grass inside his family if he's in the end going to get played internationally across the world for everyone to see. I trust Roman Reigns. It's not about trusting Paul Heyman. I trust Roman Reigns that he's made the right decision here.
I think that's a fair point. I also think this. We've seen Brock Lesnar since SummerSlam, at least what we've seen, on his own. But it feels like he's picked up a lot of tricks of the Paul Heyman, and maybe that time isn't over yet. But I think back to WrestleMania 31 when these two faced off, and the WWE Universe was kind of saying, hey, is Paul Heyman going to end up with Roman Reigns at the end of this? We were all just guessing, and it didn't happen. Obviously, a lot more happened. But now, we've seen it on SmackDown. We've seen the fact that Brock's going, yeah, I'm still working with him. He's helping me out with contract things. And Paul Heyman looks flustered. More flustered than we've seen. Kayla, when have we seen Roman Reigns even a little off his game in this title
But
reign?
maybe Brock, to him, maybe it's funny to him.
It's great.
Right?
I love this Brock.
Right? Maybe he's just trying to poke
That's what I think.
It's great mind games, though.
Exactly. And what evidence do we actually have? Have we ever seen any evidence so far that Paul's actually been moving with Brock Lesnar? No. We don't know that. We're basing it on history, and we're basing it on the fact that Brock is making us think that. I think it's all right in front of us. Roman and Paul will leave together tonight.
I love the mind games of Brock Lesnar. It's added a great and fun element to his game.
Wow. All I know is I hope I don't get into the crosshairs anymore. Kevin Patrick, I do appreciate you taking that one from me. So again, one more time, our predictions for this match.
I picked Roman Reigns because until he loses, until somebody says otherwise, he's going to be Universal Champ forever.
Listen, I always bow to the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns.
All right, guys. Well, we got to keep our eyes peeled, but we're going to throw things over to Riyadh right now to get things started. It's Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the Mohammed Abdul Arena in Riyadh in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Welcome to the Crown Jewel Kickoff Show for Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. I'm Michael Cole, flanked by my buddies from Monday Night Raw, Corey Graves and Byron Saxton. Are you guys ready for what should be an incredible night?
No doubt about it. We're going to crown a brand new King of the Ring and the first ever winner of the Queen's Crown Tournament. It's going to be a big, big night. It's going to be a historical night. And let's go. Let's get it started.
Kicking things off with the current SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
The following contest is a tag team match scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, at a combined weight of 479 pounds, they are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Jimmy and Jay, the Usos!
The WWE Universe is still filing in here tonight in Riyadh. Riyadh season is underway. It actually started yesterday, but we are the first big event of Riyadh season. And the Usos, Byron, have held the tag team gold from all the way back in July.
The Usos continue to maintain a stranglehold on the SmackDown Tag Team titles. And this is a chance here right now for Jimmy and Jay to set the tone for the Bloodline success here at Crown Jewel.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Saxton. Set the table, to borrow a little pun, for the head of the table, because later tonight, the Universal Championship on the line. Roman Reigns defending against Brock Lesnar. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. the Hurt Business.
Benjamin and Alexander, the Hurt Business, of course, formerly part of the group was former WWE champion Bobby Lashley, who has a monster matchup later on tonight. No holds barred, falls count anywhere against Goldberg.
This is a massive opportunity for Benjamin and Alexander to get back on the horse, so to speak. Recently reuniting as the Hurt Business, former WWE Raw Tag Team Champions. There could be a lot more success in the very near future for the Hurt Business.
I spoke to Cedric Alexander earlier about reuniting with Shelton Benjamin. He said it's as simple as this. We had something special. We had a chemistry that we feel like was unmatched, and it was worth trying to do it again, trying to get back to the top of the Raw Tag Team division together.
You notice Jimmy and Jay holding the #1 in the air. That, of course, the symbol of the bloodline, and their cousin Roman Reigns, the current Universal Champion, standing all for one within the bloodline, which goes back to an interview we had just moments ago with Paul Heyman, the special counsel for Roman Reigns. And the question for both of you, do you believe in Heyman? Is he still pledging his allegiance to Roman Reigns tonight?
Paul Heyman is a gentleman that you wouldn't trust if his tongue came notarized, but the fact is Heyman is one of the most brilliant minds this industry has ever known. So if anyone has something big up their sleeve, it's Paul Heyman.
I'll tell you what right now, if I'm the Universal Champion Roman Reigns, I am highly concerned about the intentions of Paul Heyman.
The Usos certainly do not appear concerned. This is going to be a high-impact affair, no doubt about it. Two elite tag teams. The WWE Universe here in Riyadh the past several days has been on another level. The excitement is palpable.
And this is Cedric Alexander starting things off in this matchup against Jey Uso. The Usos, 7-time tag team champions. Had an incredible street fight with the Street Profits last Friday night on SmackDown to retain the gold.
You mentioned earlier about the importance of tag team chemistry, and that's what made the Hurt Business so special in the first place. You are dealing with perhaps the team with the best chemistry in the history of the business in Jimmy and Jey Uso. Literally a tag team since day one, since birth.
Know how much that's a motivating factor for Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. If you knock off the Usos, imagine what it does for the Hurt Business in the Raw Tag Team division.
And you know, tomorrow night on Friday Night SmackDown, back on Fox, the new rosters that came into play in the draft a couple of weeks ago will go into effect.
Nasty landing for Alexander. Cover
by Jey and a kick out. The Usos remain on SmackDown. Alexander and Benjamin will remain on Monday Night Raw.
New challenges await both teams in the wake of the WWE draft.
They got a little distracted.
Yeah, and
Shelton on the outside.
Cedric Alexander taking advantage. And Alexander into the corner, tag made to Benjamin.
A smart decision by the Hurt Business. Classic tag team strategy. Look to cut the ring in half, isolate the person in the ring from their partner on the outside.
And Benjamin now unloading on the Usos.
There has been a significant chip on the shoulder of both Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander because they felt the last few weeks, ever since getting back together, they haven't received the respect that they feel that they're due on Monday Night Raw.
Got to win matches, right, to gain respect, at least in the point of the career of Benjamin and Alexander.
Jey Uso desperately trying to fight his way out of the corner.
What a double team! Knee right to the face of Jey. Jey may be out. Cover! Almost had a near fall.
My goodness! And very wisely, Alexander right back on top of Jey Uso, not offering any space, no quarter for one half of the SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
It's moments like that that's just going to build the confidence. Take another look here. Watch the impact. Boom! Knee to jaw. That's just going to continue to build the confidence of the Hurt Business in this match.
Jey Uso desperately reaching for his brother Jimmy in the corner.
Hands length away, but Cedric Alexander doing a great job not allowing Jey to get there. And now the trash talk to Jimmy. Covered by Alexander. And again, a win over the SmackDown Tag Champs tonight. And a kick out for Alexander and Benjamin would go a long way for getting them back in the hunt for perhaps the Raw Tag Team titles.
That fact has not been lost on Benjamin and Alexander, who are continuing to work extremely effectively against Jey Uso.
As the WWE fans file in here at Crown Jewel, just about 22 minutes to go before the start of the pay-per-view event.
Nasty shoulder breaker from Shelton Benjamin, who appears to be targeting the left arm of Jey Uso.
Very wise strategy by Shelton Benjamin. Understands, look,
deep arm drag. about the experience that Benjamin brings to the equation. There's not much Shelton Benjamin has not seen in WWE.
You're absolutely right, Saxton, which is probably one of the many reasons why he and Cedric Alexander have been so successful, drawing from Shelton's personal experience here in WWE.
Yeah, you talked about the Usos before. The brothers obviously been together as one in WWE for over a decade now.
One of the most decorated tag teams WWE has ever seen.
You know, and I was talking to some people a couple of days ago, Corey, about the Usos, and it's a widespread belief that the Usos have never been better than they are right now.
I would be in full agreement of that statement. And right now, Shelton Benjamin in complete control, continuing to crank at the shoulder of Jey Uso.
Hey, Byron, you've known the Usos for a long, long time. Why is it different now? Why are they on this different level? It has a lot to do with Roman Reigns?
I absolutely believe it has a lot to do with Roman Reigns. I've known the Usos, as you said, for quite some time, and it's always been about family with them. It's always been about family loyalty, and now that you have the bloodline united, that's why the Usos are operating on a different level.
The bottom line is confidence breeds confidence. But right now, Shelton Benjamin looking for a big-time suplex. Jey Uso realizing and trying to fight his way out.
Both these men jockeying for position.
And Benjamin knocked back center of the ring, and again trying to make a tag. Spine buster by Shelton.
Benjamin with a cover.
And a cover now on Jey, who kicks out. And guys, I don't think Jimmy's been in this match.
Jimmy Uso has been a non-factor to this point in the matchup. And another tag made. Cedric Alexander once again legal. The Hurt Business has been extremely impressive to this point.
Trademark tag team style. Alexander and Benjamin completely controlling Jey, who's been weakened. Don't want to allow him to make a tag to his brother.
And I think the offense we're seeing right now from the Hurt Business is just a result of realizing the magnitude of this match, how valuable this win would be to their careers.
Well, we talk quite often about trap games in other sports. This could be a trap match, so to speak, for Jimmy and Jey. Yes, they are the reigning SmackDown Tag Team Champions, but if in this particular instance they've overlooked the Hurt Business, it's not going to end well for the Usos.
Tag made by Shelton Benjamin. Spoken about the Lashley Goldberg match and the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match later on tonight. Actually kicking off Crown Jewel in just about 20 minutes will be the Hell in a Cell match. The third match in the trilogy between Seth Rollins and Edge.
I absolutely cannot wait to see Edge and Seth Rollins inside Hell in a Cell.
And you can see the Hell in a Cell, that dangerous structure hanging over the ring as we speak here at Mohammed Abdul Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Perhaps the most sadistic structure in all of sports. Hell in a Cell, custom made to mangle your opponent's body, to tear their flesh, to settle the issues.
Benjamin trying to talk a little trash. That might have infused. The motivation of Jey Uso here, who's fighting back.
And Jey trying desperately to get to his brother Jimmy. Shelton not going to allow that to happen. But that step up enziguri will give some space now to Jey Uso, and can he make a tag?
Shelton Benjamin is rocked badly. Jey Uso needs to make a tag. Jimmy is more than ready on the outside.
Critical moment in this match for the tag team champions.
A race on our hands right now. Shelton Benjamin stumbling over, makes the tag.
Yeah, Jimmy Uso now legal, as is Cedric Alexander. And here comes Jimmy Uso. And an uppercut by Alexander stops Jimmy Uso in his tracks. Kick right to the midsection. Classic Uso style here. Modified Samoan drop. Cover now by Jimmy. Almost had him in a kick out.
Cedric Alexander very, very close to being counted out of this one. But Jimmy Uso needs to continue to pour on the pressure. He has Alexander quite literally in the ropes.
Comes Uso.
Backing it up in the corner. Cover now by Jimmy. Hooks the leg on Alexander, who again kicks out at two.
Alexander barely able to escape right now. Jimmy Uso understands he's got to keep this offensive onslaught going.
Jimmy's taking a moment, surveying the scene, trying to figure out his next move, but is caught with a big kick by Cedric.
Speaking of scenes, incredible scene here tonight at Mohammed Abdul Arena.
O'Connor roll.
Almost Almost had him near fall again. And Shelton Benjamin
from the outside
the
locks the
official
jaw.
Never saw it.
Oh, trying to muscle up Jimmy Uso.
Alexander,
brainbuster.
The back of his neck cover now. Is it enough to put him away? And a kick out at 2.
Spectacular teamwork on the inside and outside of the ring from the Hurt Business, but not enough to finish the job just yet.
Here comes Benjamin. Alexander and Benjamin have been dominating most of this matchup, but can they put the Usos away?
More tandem offense on the horizon here. Jimmy Uso trying to thwart those plans. Watch Jay. Jay's got the ankle of Cedric Alexander.
Jimmy back to his feet, connects with a right to Cedric.
And Benjamin follows it up with a running knee. And Shelton dropping Jimmy. Is it enough to put him away? Alexander and Benjamin closing in on the win, and Jey Uso breaking things up.
At the very last possible moment, Jay to the rescue, keeping this matchup alive for his brother and himself.
Oh, Alexander, tremendous athleticism.
Oh my goodness, what a response.
Benjamin missed wildly with that. Oh, but he didn't miss with that.
Back and forth we go. The momentum changes.
But Benjamin hit pay dirt. Jimmy Uso in trouble, shoulders down.
To put him away for the win, almost had him.
Let's take a look at this amidst the chaos.
Pay dirt by Benjamin.
Shelton Benjamin now desperately needs to make a tag to a still recovering Cedric Alexander. All 4 competitors in this matchup feeling the wounds of battle. And we are just getting started.
What a way to get started here. Now Shelton Benjamin perhaps thinking a powerbomb.
Jimmy Uso trying to fight his way out of Shelton's grip. Does just that.
Lands on his feet. Super kick connecting. Tag made. Alexander's legal.
Super kicks in stereo.
And Cedric Alexander runs into a stereo super kick again by the Usos.
They ascending all the way to the top.
Top rope. Uso splash connecting. The Usos with the win.
Here are your winners, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos.
SmackDown Tag Team Champions continue to function on a whole other level. Uso splash right to the center of the ring. That is a lot of space to cover. Jay almost makes it look easy. But after a great back and forth battle, the Usos survive.
And we get a couple of moments, gentlemen, to catch our breath before we head into the Crown Jewel pay-per-view proper. The Usos kick it off here tonight with a win over Alexander and Benjamin.
And Roman Reigns is smiling at what he just witnessed.
And congratulations to the Usos, but will it be 2 for 2 for the Bloodline when Roman Reigns defends his Universal Championship against the Beast, Brock Lesnar?
And 3 of the absolute best in the game will vie for the SmackDown Women's Championship when Becky Lynch defends her title against both Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks in a triple threat match.
I am excited about this match. The hometown hero Mansoor taking on Mustafa Ali.
At SummerSlam, we saw RK Bro win the Tag Team Championships, the Raw Tag Team Championships from AJ Styles and Omos. And AJ Styles and Omos, they're not happy, and they want those titles back. We'll see these 2 teams clash at Crown Jewel.
And these 2 colossals once again come face to face in a no-holds-barred match, which is also, as we learned earlier, a Falls Count Anywhere match. Listen, guys, in this match, anything goes.
Oh, boy. One of these 2 women have a chance to truly catapult their career. The Queen's Crown Finals. Doudrop versus Zelina Vega.
And in the King of the Ring finals, it's never happened on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or pay-per-view for the first time ever. Finn Balor and Xavier Woods. Does the Prince become a king, or does Xavier Woods realize a lifelong dream and become King Xavier Woods.
And what will happen when the Scottish superstar goes head-to-head with Big E? With a WWE Championship on the line, we find out tonight at WWE Crown Jewel.
This goes all the way back to the close of SummerSlam. It has been heated for months, and now it's gone too far. And when a rivalry gets this intense, like it has between Seth Rollins and Edge, there's only one way to go. Hell in a Cell.
So Seth, this all started between us 7 years ago, when you tried to use me as a stepping stone to notoriety.
Nothing would make me happier than to crush your dreams.
You're just Edge Light, kid.
I am better than you in every single way.
I underestimated you. And I shouldn't have done that, because that would be like underestimating myself, and I never do that. See, you and I are so much alike that when we see our mistakes, we're able to capitalize on them. At SummerSlam, you underestimated me, and I beat you. In Madison Square Garden, I underestimated you, and you beat me. You stretchered me out of the world's most famous arena. Beating me wasn't enough. You got greedy.
You crawl your way back to this ring, man. One more time.
You see, I want an answer. Has anybody heard anything? Because I sure haven't. So I did what any sane man would do. I went to his house to get an answer to my challenge.
Beth!
No. Where are you? Where are you?
I know you live out in the middle of nowhere, but lock your doors, man.
Listen to me. Seth is at the house. Don't go home. Go to your brother's.
I can stay here all night. You name the time. You name the place. We could even have the match in your living room.
You went to my home, where I break bread with my family, where we laugh, where we cry, where I tuck my little girls into bed every night. You, me, Hell in a Cell. You never feel sympathy for a devil, and that's what we are. So it's fitting that our story ends in
Hell in a Cell.
I have spent more time in that cell. I know I am better than Edge in every single possible way.
I gotta end this. I want you to listen closely.
This fairy tale does end, but just not the way you think. Because I am the visionary.
I am going to scar your soul.
I am Seth freaking Rollins.
And that is a scar that you never, ever heal from.
A rivalry that started over the Universal Championship. Seth Rollins not happy that Edge got that opportunity at Money in the Bank against Roman Reigns. But the Universal Championship is now long behind us because this one has gotten personal. It's 1-1. We saw Edge defeat Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. We saw Seth Rollins defeat Edge on SmackDown at Madison Square Garden and send him out of the arena on a stretcher. So now my question, Peter, is, does Seth Rollins at this point, forget all the Edge Light stuff, has he taken enough from Edge and that playbook and gone to a different level?
Yeah, I think he's done it. You really put it well. He's done an unbelievable job playing the games that Edge was famous for playing. And I was at the Garden, sitting right there, sitting behind Beth Phoenix, actually, and seeing, oh my God, seeing her experience this, watching her husband go through this. And then it got more personal than that, because then Seth decides, I'm going to go to Edge's house.
That was awful.
And that was really the ultimate. Didn't that remind you of Edge and John Cena 15 years ago? Like, that was such an Edge move. So he's pushed Edge to the breaking point, and now it's the perfect time, right? Edge is leaving for Raw. Let's get this thing done today.
Well, one thing we have to remember is, Seth Rollins has had a lot more experience than Edge when we talk about this structure today. And, Seth mentioned that he felt that Edge was afraid of him multiple times, especially this past Friday Night SmackDown. But wasn't it Edge who kind of said, let's do this in Hell in a Cell?
Well, that's my thing here is, does Edge saying this, is this a mistake? Because we know what happened at Madison Square Garden. We know he was away from WWE for a decade because of his neck issues. He leaves on a stretcher, and now he's saying, let's finish this in Hell in a Cell. The old Edge, I get that. It would make sense to do so. But does it really make sense? Is he thinking with his brain, or is he thinking with his heart and the rage that is inside his heart? It might be the only way to finish this thing, Peter. But is this a dangerous move here by Edge, knowing where he's at in his career?
I really don't like giving you so much credit again, but that's a fantastic point. That may not be the best move. This is ultimately a young man's game, and particularly Hell in a Cell, when you talk about the wear and tear that is on Edge's body. This is a dangerous proposition.
And to Kayla's point, this is Seth Rollins' fourth Hell in a Cell match. This is Edge's only second one, and he's been in there with The Undertaker. That's a rare advantage that Seth has in terms of experience here.
But when you guys are talking about, Edge's anger and his fury, that could be what gets in his way. Seth kind of seems to be taking things a little bit too on the opposite side of the spectrum. He's having a good time. He's jesting, going into his house, just making light of all of it. So do you think that perhaps he's not taking it serious enough?
I think that's just the way that Seth decides to operate. I think it's all a show, right? I think he's crazy like a fox.
But he knows what he's doing.
He wants you to think he's so crazy and he's so out of control, when really it's all part of Seth Rollins' games.
Do you think he snaps out of it when he gets inside that?
I think so, because when he gets in there, he's a competitor. We know that. But he has pushed the buttons of Edge, which is what Edge would have done 10, 15 years ago to John Cena or Batista or The Undertaker. That's where Seth is. Seth's very comfortable. But I think we've seen he can flip that switch, and he can turn that on, and that's what makes this match so intriguing.
Well, you said, we're 1-1. Tonight, the trilogy could come to an end of this feud. Do we think after it's all said and done at the end of Crown Jewel tonight, when these men are done inside a Hell in a Cell structure, are we putting this to rest?
I think this is the end. I think Edge moves on to Monday Night Raw and tries to start over again and get away from this, and that is why I will be picking Edge tonight. A little bit with my heart, I admit, a little bit with my heart, but I'm going with the Rated R Superstar.
Here's the thing. I think Seth Rollins knows exactly what he's doing, and I think he has been ahead in this game, especially up here and getting Edge to feel all that rage. I think Seth takes this one, takes the rubber match, and maybe moves on to other things. They're both going to end up on Monday Night Raw, but I do think that the rubber match settles this thing. But neither men, regardless of the outcome, will be the same.
All right. Well, before we do throw things to the Mohammed Abdu Arena and Riyadh, I do want to run through the matches one more time and get you guys' predictions. We just heard yours for Edge versus Seth Rollins. Let's go back to that Universal Championship match. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. Peter, who walks out as Universal Champion?
No, listen, of course I say I always bow my head in respect to the head of the table. Every time I eat a piece of delicious food and catering, I go, thank you. Thank you, head of the
I can't
table.
with this guy.
But the reality is, all seriousness, he's just the best he's ever been. And he's actually the absolute best in the world. He has said it recently. I have said it recently. I agree with him. He's on top of his game, and I think it continues tonight.
I agree. And it's once again, not a slight on Brock Lesnar. It's just I need to see someone beat Roman Reigns before I can believe it's going to happen, because it's the most dominant reign of any championship in WWE history, because when he gets in there, he'll dominate you with physical attributes. But before that, the mental game. Now, this is one of the first times in this reign that we've seen Roman maybe a little off, maybe confused because of what's going on with Paul Heyman, who is obviously the major X factor here. But once again, until I see someone beat Roman Reigns, hashtag and forever Universal Champion Roman Reigns.
All right, we got a few more to get through. Not a lot of time left. Let's talk about the SmackDown Women's Championship Triple Threat match. Peter.
Man, this has a lot of implications with the moves that we're going to see over the next week post-draft. My heart wants to go with the EST, Bianca Belair. I think she is one of the best stories in WWE today and just someone I admire. However, I think it's still Big Time Bex. I really do. There is an edge that she has. There is a certain je ne sais quoi, a swag about
She's got
Big
the
Time
swag.
Bex.
Do you think she takes the title over to Raw with her?
I think it's going to be a wacky time, and we'll see how that plays out. But all I can do is look at the match. And as far as the match goes, I like Big Time Bex.
I'm with you. I think that's how you have to look at it. Everything else can get figured out tomorrow when the rosters go into effect. But I agree with Peter. I think Becky Lynch coming back from being away and being more motivated, and as she's saying, better than ever. I think that continues with another victory and retention of the SmackDown Women's Championship.
All right, guys, let's do one more before we close things out and send things over. Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. Again, no holds barred. Falls count anywhere.
Why are you going to make me do it to my guy Goldberg? I mean, listen, I want to root for Goldberg. Do you understand as a kid what it meant being named Rosenberg and hearing there was a champion named Goldberg? I saw him once in Miami when I was like 19 years old. He was a regal being. That being said, he's going to lose tonight to Bobby Lashley.
Wow.
And if Gage gets close, he might get smacked too.
You might want to get some
It's Lashley
security
Thomas.
hanging around you after everything you said about the Goldberg.
There's a different thought process. There's a different mentality when it becomes about your family. I can speak to this as a father. If anybody messed with my daughter, I'd be as mad as Goldberg is. And that is the rage he takes into a no-holds-barred, falls-count-anywhere match. This might be one time that I confidently say in a match with Bobby Lashley that Bobby Lashley is going to lose, because that is the motivation and rage that Goldberg has. He defeats Bobby Lashley at Crown Jewel.
All right, guys, we're obviously all looking forward to seeing who is crowned king, who will be the first ever Queen's Crown Tournament winner. Before we go, I do want to wish your best to one Mr. Xavier one more time. I was scrolling through Twitter. I wanted to read this because I think it's a great sentiment to go out on here.
Okay.
He put on Instagram earlier today, "My entire career I've been told to tone it down. Don't be my full self. I'm too ridiculous. I don't fit in. Just be like everyone else. Don't think outside the box. Tonight, I have a chance to show all of those people they were wrong. This is the most important match of my life." I think the three of us, I think it's unanimous.
Everyone's rooting for Xavier.
Rooting for Woods, no hyperbole whatsoever in those statements.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in here to the Crown Jewel Kickoff Show. It is about to be one exciting night, so let's get to it. We are throwing things over to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. WWE Crown Jewel starts right now.
I am the greatest woman to ever hold this title. How many different ways do I have to show you that I'm the ESP before you finally get it?
Wait a minute! Sasha Banks is back! 3 women that are absolute ass kickers. Becky defends her title against Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks in a triple threat at the Crown Jewel.
Ashley, you hurt my son. And now I'm going to hurt you real bad.